I'm using my crystals to prop up my phone so I can use natural light to come through. It's interesting. I had a conversation with someone who I had spent time with dating, and they were talking about this part of me, or sharing about this part of me that was kind of like too much for them and actually found hurtful. And I really appreciated them being able to talk about it. I'm sad that they weren't able to talk about it in the context of when we were in a relationship. But one thing I recognize is there is this part of me who can be really intense. And for a lot of people, that can be overwhelming. And I think it's confronting to people. And it can be, I'm going to use the word just confronting to people. I have a very strong social justice lens, hence I'm in the realm of social work, hence I really believe in healing ourselves, hence I believe in community and connection and literally the power of love and connection to hold us in this world and create ultimately peace. Now, there are lots of people who say, yeah, I believe that too, but no, actually you don't. So here is where, sorry, there's lots of driving rain traffic. So here's where I get on my high horse of my righteousness and believing that I'm right. And I recognize that's an ego-driven thing. I recognize not everything is 100%. But I also recognize that people who say that they stand for something and don't actually speak their voice or say their truth are hiding. And I'm so sick and tired of people who say, I don't know, there's nothing I can do. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. There's stuff you can do. And the fact that you are not willing makes you complicit, makes you a part of the problem. We talk about bullying and bystandering, and that if you're a bystander, then you're letting it happen. We continue to do that as, maybe I'll speak for myself as a white female, maybe I'll speak for myself as being a Canadian, just a white person in general in the West, like whatever the fuck it is. We seem to think that because our lives are okay, we can just watch the world around us and watch everything else that's taking place. That's not my problem, because that's not in my scope of the world or my scope of my reality. Bullshit. That is what bulliers, fascist regime rulers, I know we always flip back to Hitler. Let's flip back to Hitler, okay? And all the people who were okay with that shit. Let's talk about the indigenous peoples. Let's talk about colonization. Let's talk about any genocide you want to talk about. And it will always stem from this idea that the outsiders aren't paying attention, or they're seeing it and they don't resonate. Well, we are at a time of social media that shows us everything. Now, it also shows us things to keep us divided. It shows us intensity on both sides to create sides. But the fact is, if we were really in a healed place and believed that every single being, including ourselves, deserved love and safety, we would not be able to watch the atrocities that take place. I see it every day in the people living in their tents, the addiction. The highest rates of death nowadays are suicide and overdose. So we're sick. We're a sick people, and we continue to watch it and let it happen. And I say we continue to watch and let it happen because our governments are not taking it seriously. So if we are electing the governments, supposedly, then they should be listening to us. And so many people are saying, well, they're not listening to us. Well, then we need to be louder. Because at some point, the, what's the word? The dissonance is going to be so wild that people will say no. And when I think of, here I am, with the time of Aquarius that we are entering into, and we have Pluto in Aquarius, which the Aquarian energy is a lot about the individual, the uniqueness of each individual having a voice, but also the power of the collective. The Aquarian energy is actually considered the idea of the utopian reality of what is possible, like the cosmic thinkers, the big ideas and possibility. And so we are entering into this phase, but we have to know ourselves and we have to believe we have a voice. What else is Aquarian all about? Technology and expansion and new horizons. So now we have access to this technology here that we should be using, and we are. Now it's also being used in ways to create harm and division, 100%. And we have a voice. We are learning things that we would have never known in the past. We are seeing things we would have never seen. And it's time for us to start using our voice. It's time for us to stop letting all this shit happen around us. Because I'm sorry, if you are not taking part in the solution, you are a part of the problem. This is a truth. And I know it's so painful. The suffering that is taking place, the confusion that is taking place. Do I know if everything I see is real? Nope. But do I know that a war on a group of people is taking place? Yep. Do I know it's happening in many countries right now? Actually, yes. Do I know the only wars that are being really demonstrated and shown to us here in the West are the ones who have white people involved? Ukraine and Israel. And our countries, or Canadians and Americans anyway, our countries are focusing their lens that way. And they're focusing their lens on supporting those white folks. So they clearly have a little bit more power or sway. Now here I am not perfect. I recognize that I am a part of the natural oppressing group. I have a high level of privilege. And this is what we were supposed to have learned during Black Lives Matter. That we have a level of privilege and power just for the freaking color of our skin where we were born. And so if we're not using that power to elevate and care for the whole world around us, what are we doing? So if you're like, that's too big for me, that's way too big, then you turn around and you look at your community and you start in your community. What can you do there? What can you do in your family? What can you do in literally your community? What can you do in your city or town, wherever the hell you live? Because the moment you're turning your eye, because it is too painful, you are turning your eye on the parts of yourself that are wounded as well. I strongly believe that the fact that we can't see this pain is because we refuse to see our own. And the people who are continuing to see and go within their own pain are the ones who are like, what the fuck? And it's the younger generations that are just jaded. And you know why? Because we're leaving them with shit. And I'm a part of that elder millennial generation. And we have also been handed a really interesting hand. We are also in a place where we knew what it was like before technology, and we know what it's like now. So we have the capacity for a level of balance, and I hope a level of insight and awareness to how technology is affecting the world, because we know the before and we know the after. We can see it, and we're seeing it in the young people. So like, yes, what am I talking about right now? Everything. Am I on my soapbox? Yes. Do I believe strongly in it all? Yes. Do I think anybody cares? No. The people who are going to care and anybody who will comment are going to be the people who are against me, or feel attacked by me, or are feeling really confronted by something I'm saying. That's who's going to comment. That's who's going to say something. That's who's going to do something. And that is, again, a product of technology. And technology, our system, the whole system itself is dumbing us down. And I don't mean dumbing us down and making us literally dumb. It is removing our critical thinking, but it's dumbing us down in our heart. That we can't actually feel things for others because it is just too painful to watch this excruciating time. And it started during COVID, and many people didn't understand it. That's okay. It started before COVID. I've been in my social justice realm where I'm too much for a long period of my life. And I'm tired of being misunderstood because I can be so vehement in my values and beliefs and speaking that people need to speak up, that it is really hard for people. And it's hard for people to believe that I love people and I want to hold space for the healing and of everyone. I need it too. Like, we all need it. We all need to feel like we value, that we are lovable, that we belong, that we are important. Every single one of us. Every single one of us. Like, every human and living being. Every one of us has value and worth and deserves to feel like they belong and are safe. Yes, the Israelis deserve that. Yes, the Palestinians deserve that. But what is taking place is not okay. And we can say that one person started it first, that there is a history of this. We can continue to talk about those details that prevent us from falling into action. Action. We need to say something or do something. Well, no one's going to listen. No one cares. The government doesn't care. The government's corrupt. True. All that. There's truth to that. 100%. And there is truth that the only thing that has ever created change is a small group of people believing they can. Oh, shoot. I forget the person who said something similar to that. It was a female in the social justice realm back in the early 1900s. I'm going to find it and I'm going to post it in here. So yeah, this is me on my soapbox. And this is my soapbox. I guess this literally is my box. But here I am. And yeah, so to have someone that it started with, anyway, there are going to be people who don't like these parts of you. And I don't show up this way every day. I don't show up this way, like with this anger, even though there's this fire that burns within me of this is not okay. There is an injustice taking place. There are things that have happened to me in my life that are not okay. There are things that I witness that are not okay. And I'm tired of not saying anything. Are you tired of not saying anything? How can you say something? Because I urge you to say or do something. Own that. There are things that are happening that are not okay. They weren't okay when they happened to you. They weren't okay when you saw it, and they're not okay now. We need to say something.